up, y'all? It's Willie Beeman here, bringing you another tutorial video. This is going to be a speed run kind of challenge for everybody to do, and also just kind of tutorial just to show you the most efficient way to get your guy from brand new to 99 overall as fast as possible. I'm going to be ignoring badges. That's not included in the challenge. You do have to include loading screens. You can skip any cutscenes at the beginning whenever you're doing the story. That's definitely not essential to watch those. If it's your first time playing MyPlayer, I'd recommend maybe watching them. And the story's pretty cool, but you really don't have to. It's not the best story in the world. So this is my MyPlayer. Just kind of give you an idea of the guy that I did. 6'10" power forward, outside shooting. We needed a guy like this for the rec for my squad. So I decided to make one, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time on them. I wanted them to be done in about 3 days, which is how long it took me to do this. Total time that I spent doing this was 10 hours and 45 minutes. That's probably a little bit long. If you follow all these steps, you can probably cut that down by maybe an hour or two. I was a little bit distracted watching football and things like that while I was doing this, but I included the time since I was in there. So now over to your attribute updates or upgrades. I would recommend, if you're going to max out anything whenever you first start, you want to max out your athlete, and then if you plan on maxing out your playmaker and either jump shooter or inside scorer, you could do that at the beginning as well, because that'll give you the on the court coach badge, which is a really good badge to get at the beginning, because then it can allow you to cut some time by being able to call for the ball and either throw up a shot real quick or throw up a shot from end to end in order to give the opposition the ball so you can foul out quicker. But whenever you're doing these attribute upgrades, it's key to keep your player as low overall as possible, because later in the video I'll show you you want to trade yourself to a bad team in order to avoid the playoffs. But if your player's really good, he could bring them back and get them into the playoffs if your player's really good. And so this shows you the on-court coach badge, which I got that a little bit later, so it's not super important. I probably played 80% of this before I got the on-the-court coach badge. But after I got it, I noticed it was a lot easier to foul out of games. I probably cut 20 to 30 seconds off of each game, which doesn't sound like a lot, but whenever you're playing as many games as you have to play to get these attribute upgrades, it actually is a pretty significant difference. Next is the gameplay settings. This is what you want to set your settings on before you start playing any games. I use Hall of Fame. The simulation thing doesn't really matter. You want to put it on any kind of minutes, doesn't matter. Game speed, you want to put that all the way up to 100 because it'll make everything go a lot faster. The action replays and the after basket camera cuts, you always want to do those for never. It cuts out a little bit of time. Also, Hall of Fame allows you to get more VC, base VC per game, so it allows you to build up a little VC. So this is starting off, game 1, high school. It took me, let me see here, it took me an hour and 23 minutes to get from the start of my career to my year 2 of the NBA, which is going to be your first goal. Because you're not going to be able to work on any attribute upgrades going at the beginning of the season. It's all about just kind of getting to that year two of your NBA season. So this is just some gameplay footage. It's at 4 times speed, that's why it looks like that. I didn't want to have to show you guys me fouling out. I just figured I'd show you a little bit of strategy. So if you're really paying attention, you can kind of see how I'm doing it. The easiest way to foul on 2K is whenever they inbound the ball or whenever they get the ball in any possession, you want to hold the timeout button. That's like the intentional foul button. You can also hold the steal button down and he'll foul him as well, but the timeout button is a little bit more efficient, I guess. So if you're watching this gameplay, It's only taken me about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to about a little over 3 minutes to foul out of each game, to give you an idea from the start of the game to the end of the game. So this is going to be your practice strategy, which is by far the easiest part of this. So whenever you go to a practice, all you're going to do is hit X on the practice, and basically play it. And once the game loads up, which you'll see here, as soon as you walk in the door, you want to hit start, or its options on the PS4 controller, and then do finish practice. You don't actually have to play any practices. And this is going to show you a little bit, we're going to talk about further in the video. You can't sim more than 3 off days, or you'll lose one of your practices. So if you look at my live practice section, my bar at the bottom is partially full. And as I sim through these off days, you'll see after I sim through 3 off days that it actually reduces my next attribute upgrade bar. So if you're paying attention, I'm actually going to lose 3 practices by simming games. So there goes another one right there. So I have 1 attribute upgrade left. So this off day is 1. Then this off day is going to be simming 2 off days. And then this off day is going to be simming 3 off days. So it kind of it inhibits you from simming a bunch of off days at once. Alright, so now I'm going to go over pretty much the most important part of getting your attribute upgrades, and that's what games to play in order to most efficiently play your off days. So here we go, we're kind of starting the schedule. This is a year that I just started after I got my 99 overall. So basically whenever you start a year, you're going to want to go through your schedule. As long as your attribute upgrade bar is at 0, you want to find basically your scheduled 5 off days. So here we got 3 off days in a row. Followed by 3 off days in a row here as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this Houston game, sim to it, play this practice right here. That's 1 practice. Then I'm gonna sim to this Golden State game, play it. Then I'm gonna play all 3 of these practices, sim to this Philly game, and then I'm gonna play this practice. That's 1 attribute upgrade. Then I'm set up for the next one. So I'm going to check in front. So you got single off days right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play Utah, play Phoenix, and then play Utah again. Or no, play Chicago. So that way I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off days in 3 games. So that's going to be your strategy the whole time. Play 3 games, get 5 off days. And so after I get that 5th attribute upgrade, this attribute bar will reset to 0, so that way I can simulate to whatever games I want without any kind of penalty. And so here I got 2 off days, with 2 off days right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play the San Antonio game, then play these 2 off days. Then I'll come up here, I'll just go ahead and play San Antonio again, play 1 off day, then play Minnesota, 2 off days. So that's 3 games, 5 off days. So now my attribute upgrade bar is reset back to 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look as far ahead as I need to find my next set of games. So I got a bunch of single off days here. So there's 2 off days in a row, and 2 off days in a row there. So I'm going to play the San Antonio game here, 1, 2, come up here, go ahead and play the Lakers in the middle, get that off day, play Utah, get those 2 off days. So there we go. So that gives me my 5 right there. So as soon as I'm done with that, the attribute bar is going to reset back to 0, and then I'm ready to sim forward to my next set of games. So here I'm hitting February. So this is a really important key, is making sure that your guy is not on a playoff team. Because if you get into the playoffs, it's a big waste of time. You're going to end up having to play playoff games, and there's no practices in between playoff games or anything like that. So it's not really efficient for getting your 99 overall. There's no badge for winning playoff games, so there's no badge benefit. So it's really something to avoid. So right around February 1st, a little bit before the off break or the All-Star break, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my menu. I'm going to go down here to stats and standings. Then I'm going to check my conference standings, and I'm going to go down to the very bottom and figure out who's in last place. Then after I figure out who's in last place, here it's the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to go back out. I'm going to go up here and request a trade. Here I'm at the beginning of my season, so I can't request a trade. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to request a trade, go down to the Phoenix Suns, request a trade to them, and then go back to your schedule. And then what you're going to want to do in your schedule is just simulate over one game at a time until you get traded. And then it's going to reset your schedule, and you're going to do everything all over again. So here, looking at my schedule, I'm going to go back to where I was at. So I was at February 1st. So February 1st, so I requested a trade here. So February 1st, I'm going to simulate to this game. Simulate to this game. Whenever I get traded, I'm going to reset my schedule. So All-Star break is a very important key. As you see all these off days right here. What you're going to want to do is play this game before the off break, no matter what it looks like afterwards. So after I play this game before the off break, or the All-Star break, I'll get one practice. Then assuming I don't get to play in any All-Star activities, which you shouldn't if you keep your guys' attributes low through this process, you'll bounce over to this off day right here. And also another key, if you have your guys' attributes upgrades all the way up, one thing that you can do to avoid playing in the All-Star break is whenever you go to look at your standings, switch over to the other division and pick the worst team in the other division. For some reason in 2K, this is what I've been told by a friend, whenever you trade yourself before the All-Star break, if you were in the All-Star voting beforehand, if you switch divisions or conferences, it will actually reset your votes back down, so you'll end up not having to play the All-Star break. So that's the kind of one way to get around if you ended up making your guy like a 90 something overall, and he actually was getting All-Star break or All-Star votes. So that is a 1 game to 5 attribute upgrades deal right there. So that's actually better than what we're looking for. So this is a setup where you could actually get an attribute upgrade for 2 games. So if you played the Lakers, got your 2 off days, Golden State 3 off days. That's pretty much as good as it gets besides the All-Star break. So really it's all about just making sure you never play more than 3 games for 5 off days. You don't want to be doing all these single off days, and that will take you to the off season. Alright, sorry about the audio there. That was straight through my PlayStation instead of a voiceover afterwards like I usually do. So this is going to show you the off season. If you did everything correctly, you're just going to be able to sim through everything. So you don't have to play any of these playoff games. Everything just goes through from basically the end of one season to the beginning of the next, basically with like a load screen in between. So that's the goal. Next is going to show you that the free agency. So whenever you're picking your 3 teams, you want to pick the top 3 interested. Most of the time you won't have a big discrepancy like this. But the Kings were the team that drafted me, so I guess they wanted me back in year 4. So they offered me this, this big contract here where I'm getting about 500 VC a game, which on Hall of Fame is actually double that. So I'm getting 1,000 VC a game in my next season as I play them as my base VC. So that'll kind of give you an idea of how much VC you get once you get to about year 4. And also your practices carry over from season to season, so if you want to have your bar partially filled up from one season to the next, you can do that. It won't reset it through from one year to the other. So that's it. I got them up to a 99. If there's anything that I would let you guys know about, it's that you better be patient. you know, you're gonna be tempted to make your guy better in this process and just take him out to the park or something, but don't do it. You know, keep him crappy. It'll make you avoid the playoffs. Also, you know, you want to have some VC ready to go. If you're going to do this as well, you got to spend a lot of VC in order to get them up there. You know, I had about 160,000 before I started this. I put all the attribute upgrades up, and I even bought like a ton of animations in my park and stuff, and I still have about 30,000 VC left. So, kind of give you an idea of how much VC it cost me to do this. But if you can beat, you know, 9 hours or so, you know, you did a pretty good job. But I definitely think that this can be done in about 8 hours. If you follow everything correctly and you're really efficient with your fouling out and just kind of picking which days to do. But if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. If you like the video, leave a like. And this is Willie Beeman, and I'm out. Thanks, guys.